Most people think in order to succeed on YouTube that you have to be somebody special with a whole bunch of subscribers and a whole lot of views, and that's how you make the money. But as a pretty regular guy who has a micro niche YouTube channel, who doesn't go viral, that has built a 7-figure online business, I'm here to tell you that that's not true. And in actuality, trying to get a whole lot of subscribers and trying to get a whole lot of views, that might actually be costing you money. And that might not make sense to you right now, but if you give me about 5 minutes to break it down, it will. Look, all views and subscribers are not created equal, and most creators are out here just trying to do whatever they think will get the most amount of views. They're copying whatever it is that they see is trending and getting the amount of views. But if you actually want to make some real life-changing money online and actually build a business, that's not what you need to do. And you need to realize that all attention is not good attention. So, look, in actuality, the attention economy that everybody thinks that we're in right now, it's a trap. We have shifted to a trust economy. So if you're focused on being an entertainer or just being some type of viral creator or just chasing whatever you think the algorithm wants or whatever's trending on the algorithm, you're going to lose. The winning position now is somebody that's an explainer, somebody that builds off of their authority, and somebody that's a problem solver. And this is key right here, because in order to be a successful contentpreneur, and I like to use contentpreneur instead of content creator, because creators are just doing whatever to get a view, to whereas a contentpreneur is only focused on getting the right views in order to drive that traffic to their business, to their products, to their offers, right? Well, in entrepreneurship, if you break it down to the core foundation of it, all that it is problem solving, because that's all that we spend our money on. Everybody, including you and I, we only spend our dollar on something that has a solution to our problem. And we only spend our dollar on a solution that has a perceived value that is more than our dollar, or else we would just go and spend our dollar somewhere else. So what you need to be focusing on optimizing for, instead of how many views that you get, is dollar per view. So where most content creators are tracking is their CPM. If you're not familiar with what a CPM stands for cost per mil, and mil is just a fancy word for 1,000, right? So most content creators, they're looking to just get paid from YouTube AdSense and then crossing their fingers and hoping that they get a big audience, to where somebody else that actually has a business with a product to sell will pay them to talk about their business and their product to their audience, and they call it a partnership, when it's not a partnership. It's just a sponsorship. They're paying you to talk about their business when you should just be talking about some stuff that you have. They see the value in your channel, and most of these creators don't see the value in their channel. But cost per mil is how much an advertiser pays for ads on a YouTube channel. So most creators are just checking their CPM and then their RPM, which is the revenue per mil, which is the percentage that YouTube gives to the creator. Most creators, they just focus on AdSense revenue and total views. But a contentpreneur, we optimize for revenue each view generates for your actual product. Most people, they don't know this. So this is a completely different KPI, and KPI stands for key performance indicator. These are the things that we need to be tracking if we actually want to make some money. And once you're tracking the proper KPIs and only focused on those KPIs, then you'll start to realize that you don't need to have the biggest audience. You only need to have the right audience. And typically, the fewer that you focus on, the more money that you actually make. So this is contentpreneur thinking and not creator thinking. So what you need to understand when you're building a YouTube channel, you need to understand that YouTube is not the business. YouTube is simply just a traffic source. So you need to think of YouTube as simply distribution to get your products and your offerings to your target demographic. So what you do own, which is the actual business, is an email list or a community. That's the actual asset. So think about this. Even though we're building a YouTube channel, we don't own YouTube. But if you drive that traffic to something that you own, to where you can have communication with the people that choose to tap in with you, now you have a true asset. Now you have something that you actually own. So I highly recommend an email list or a community, because you have direct access to communicate with people that are getting value from you. And then your offer, that's where you make the income. So instead of thinking of just creating a YouTube channel, what you should be working on is creating what I call a YouTube solar system. And system is an acronym that stands for saving yourself time, energy, and money. If you create what I call a YouTube solar system, then this system can be working for you 24/7, 365. And that's how you actually get your time back, and you can make more while working less. Because having YouTube as an engine of distribution for your products and your offers, it literally works 24/7, 365. And your old work still performs literally weeks, months, and years later. YouTube is the only evergreen platform. Short form content like social media, it's literally here today, gone today for most creators, but at best gone tomorrow or within 48 hours. And paid advertising, it's gone as soon as you stop paying for the ad. But I don't even have this biggest YouTube channel yet. But just from my small micro niche YouTube channel, I get paid to build my income, impact, and influence. And the amount of money that I simply make just from AdSense, it's more than a few rental properties. Like if I owned a few rental properties, I would make more cash flow just off of the views from my YouTube channel. And I don't have to worry about repairs, debt, tenants, all that type of stuff. It's crazy. And just from the amount of impressions that I would have to pay for with ads, because in years past, I've done some paid ads. The most amount of money that I've spent on ads in a single month is a little over $100,000. On an average month, I would have to spend somewhere between $25,000 and $40,000 for the same amount of eyeballs and impressions that I get from a small YouTube channel. It's insane. And I get paid to build my income, impact, and influence instead of paying to build my income, impact, and influence. But what you want to do is create this YouTube system. And I say that you create a solar system because once you get this working for you, and I crafted this off of the solar system, the gravitational pull of your content will attract the audience. You don't have to go out and look for people. It will attract them. And once they get into your gravitational pull, they'll stay in your orbit once you get it locked in. And at the end of this video, I'll give you a whole step-by-step framework to where you can create this system for yourself. But look, you create this YouTube solar system and you build your email list or community in order to stay in contact with your market. This is all about nurturing your authority. What most people are doing is that they're just trying to sell stuff, and they're not trying to stay in constant communication and deliver recurring value to somebody. And the more that you can stay in contact with somebody, the more that they trust you. We're in the trust economy now. People buy things from people that they know, like, and trust. And a rule of thumb that I have also, and this will really set you apart amongst the marketplace and whatever your niche is. In this whole online world, everybody is looking for ways that they can just stay online and make passive income. And even with all this AI stuff in the AI age that we're going into in the future, everybody is looking for a way that they can automate themselves out of their business. People want to have these chat bots to where the chat bot can replace them and whatnot. People are looking to make AI avatars so the avatar can replace them in their content and whatnot. But I'm telling you, the more analog you can stay in a digital and artificial world, the more money that you will make, because people are going to want, and people do want, connection. That's a big separator that I have, because I have a community and I'm constantly speaking to my people. I'm not going to automate myself out of my business when people want more of me. So look, and when you create this system also, you control distribution because you're building assets that you own, whether it be through an email list or a community, right? You own the distribution of you being in contact with these people. You own the distribution of your message to these people. You own the distribution of your products and offers getting delivered to these people. So Like I said, we don't own YouTube, but you own your list or your community. Now, what you need to do if you actually want to be a successful contentpreneur and make more with less audience is that you need to start with the offer, not the channel. This is where content creators have it backwards, is that they just start making content, but they have no offer to monetize that they're building their content around. Us contentpreneurs, we flipped it. So most people, they just start posting and then they try to grow and then they cross their fingers and they hope to monetize later. But us contentpreneurs, we define the transformation, and this is key. Because people, they think that people want more information when they don't. And most people actually have an information overload and are consuming entirely too much information, especially all this free content on YouTube. But people, they don't want more information. People, they don't want another digital product. People, they want transformation. So all that people want to do is go from where they are right now, which is their current situation, and get to where they want to be, which is their desired situation. That's it. All that our digital products and offers are simply a vehicle to close this gap right here. And this gap here is what I call the transformation gap. So if you just think about a vehicle, what is it? All that a vehicle is something that we get in to take us from where we are right now to where we want to go. I'm actually about to go watch Scream 7. I'm a big fan of the Scream franchise. All that my car is taking me is from my house to the movie theater so I can watch some people get stabbed up in Scream 7. This is the same thing that we have to think with our offers, with our digital products, with our communities. People are thinking, what is the best product? What is the best offer? Instead of thinking, where do people want to go? What problems are they dealing with? What is the solution that they want? And then our product is simply just a vehicle to close this transformation gap right here. So us as contentpreneurs, we define the transformation, or we define the problem that we're going to isolate in the market, and we start with the solution to that first. And then we package our expertise around it. Then we build out this YouTube system and we consistently create content that feeds the system. So this is business first YouTube. You don't think content first, you think business first. So a good way that you can do this, and a good way that you can build your authority, because like I said, we're in the trust economy and we're in the authority economy, is to start making how-I content instead of how-to content. Now, this is something that's really subtle but important. So instead of generic how to do XYZ, shift to how I did XYZ. So for example, if I'm using myself, instead of saying how to grow a YouTube channel, I can make a video titled How I Grew to 50K Subs with an iPad. Now that I'm saying that out loud, I think that is a video that I'm gonna make because I can speak about that from a very unique perspective that a lot of people haven't done. Something else that I could speak about, how I turned 3,600 views into $100,000, which now that I say that out loud also, I think I'm gonna make a video about that because that's something that I've done also. But videos like this, they build authority because it's not coming across as just some regular tutorial. It's coming across as like, oh, this is something that somebody's done. It attracts a different audience because they're looking for somebody that they can trust in that's actually gotten a result, instead of just so much crappy content out here that people are just throwing into AI or ChatGPT and just getting out a script of give me a video about how to grow on YouTube. Put it in ChatGPT. ChatGPT gives you the 5 steps to grow on YouTube. Then they just record themselves saying some AI generated general script. But my content will come across different because I'm only talking from a perspective of stuff that I know. I'm not ever talking about any theory. I'm only talking about fact. And how do I know that it's fact? Because I'm only talking about things that I've done or stuff that I've helped people within my community accomplish. So this is a framework. I just gave you an example of some stuff that I do, but whatever your niche is, you could just literally fill in the gaps and make your own how-I content instead of how-to content. So somebody that is in the health niche, for example, that may be helping new mothers lose baby fat within the next 60 days. It can be how I lost 20 pounds after having a kid in only 20 minutes a day. What type of audience would that gravitate? Probably new mothers who want to lose a little weight, who don't have that much time because they have a newborn child and a job and a relationship and a life that they're all trying to juggle right now, right? But like I said, this builds authority. This will make you different within the marketplace, because what most content creators are doing online is that they're just trying to blend in and copy what everybody else is doing. But what wins on the internet is different stuff. You want to stick out like a sore thumb. This will make you different, and this will build trust. Because again, people buy things from people that they know, like, and trust. So this is the difference between personal positioning and just general commodity information. And personal positioning is always going to win 10 times out of 10. Now, well, you need to understand this. I lightly touched on this earlier when I said that people pay for transformation, not information, but people also pay for efficiency and not information. So most people, they're drowning in information. They're drowning in YouTube tutorials. They're drowning in AI content. They're drowning in free information, whether it be YouTube content, whether it be people signing up for everybody's free webinar, signing up for everybody's free challenge, signing up for everybody's free masterclass. People don't want more knowledge. What they want is movement. They want momentum. They want a clear path. Remember, we're just taking people from where they are right now to where they want to be. That's it. They want a clear action plan. So your method is always going to be better than information. Your methodology, your system that you create, your step-by-step process is always going to be just general information. So when you keep this in mind, always remember this also. Because this is in a lot of people's heads. They're thinking that they have to have so much crazy production value. This is literally on my coaching call yesterday in my community. This is literally why I was just telling LaShawn. What's up, LaShawn, if you watching this? He's getting his YouTube journey started. He's gonna kill it too. He's 20 years old, already made 6 figures as an electrician. He's gonna help these people get started in the trades and whatnot. But he was asking about production value, what his setup looks like. And I was like, bro, you really don't have to worry about that if you're thinking about being a contentpreneur versus a content creator. Because when you're leaning on authority and experience, the viewer really doesn't care about that. So if you're an entertainer, yeah, production matters. But if you're leaning on authority, clarity matters more. This lowers the barrier to entry, and this has normal people winning. I can just use myself as an example. Look at my background. Yeah, got a pretty cool Iron Man helmet right there. But outside of that, it's some blinds in a wall. Guess what? Nobody cares. Why don't they care? Because I'm somebody who's made over 7 figures all out of my business. I'm somebody whose very first digital product made a little over 900K. I'm somebody who left social media with over 100,000 followers and hated social media and decided to go all in on YouTube and built the YouTube audience from scratch. I lean on my authority. I lean on my expertise from my experience. And everybody has some type of experience about whatever it is that they're talking about, or whatever it is that they're creating, or whatever the problem is that they're solving within their YouTube channel. And you don't have to be this super high-level guru. You don't have to be whatever expert it is that you think in your mind that you have to be. Because in order to become the expert, people think that people teach because they're experts. But that's not the case. People become experts because they teach. Think about that. Every single body that you see on YouTube that you think is the guru or the expert at whatever that they're talking about, why do you think that? because they consistently publicly show up and teach and talk about what it is that they know from their experience and their authority. Therefore, they become the perceived expert within their niche. And most people are waiting to become this expert. Therefore, they don't create the content for their audience, and then they stay in their head. Therefore, they never become the perceived expert because nobody ever sees them consistently showing up talking about something. So if you are only focused on getting in front of the right people, if you're only focused on only helping the right people with a solution to their problem, and you package that up in a digital product or community and offer it to them, and then you consistently show up talking, helping, providing true value, you become the perceived expert. And you start to make numbers online in your business just like all them that you see on the screen right now. And if you're ready to make more working less online from stuff that you already know with YouTube as an engine to power everything, then go ahead and click the link down in the description, join this Credit at the Top community, and I'll see you on our coaching call this Wednesday. But don't overcomplicate this stuff. Simple stuff scales, the fancy stuff fails, and this will work if you make the decision to work it. So go ahead and check out this video right here for a complete step-by-step framework on how you can build this system for yourself all around YouTube, saving yourself time, energy, and money. It's Credit at the Top.